1. Marc-Vivien Foé, 2003, June 26, 2003. Cameroon vs. Colombia, semi-final of the FIFA Confederations Cup in Lyon, France. The 28-year-old Cameroonian midfielder Marc-Vivien Foé was known for his strength and stamina, a Premier League regular for Manchester City and a national hero. In the 72nd minute, with no opponent near him, Foé suddenly slowed down, stared ahead, and collapsed face-first onto the grass. At first, players thought he had just fainted, but when he didn't move, panic spread. Medics rushed in. They performed CPR for more than 45 minutes on the pitch and later in the medical room. He never regained consciousness. The official cause of death was hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a genetic heart condition where the walls of the heart become abnormally thick, making it harder to pump the blood. The condition is often undetectable until it's too late. What made Foé's death so haunting was the setting. A live global broadcast, millions watching. The camera lingered on his teammates, praying, crying, refusing to leave the field. His death was one of the first in football history to unfold before the world's eyes in real time. When Cameroon advanced to the final, they played wearing Foé's number 17 on their jerseys. Even FIFA president Sepp Blatter broke down as Foé's teammates carried his framed shirt onto the pitch during the final. His passing forced FIFA and major leagues to mandate stricter cardiac screening for professional players. Yet, years later, similar deaths would follow, a painful reminder that the human heart, no matter how strong, can fail in an instant. 2. Antonio Puerta, 2007, August 25, 2007. The opening match of La Liga, Sevilla vs. Getafe. In the 35th minute, Antonio Puerta, Sevilla's 22-year-old left-back and youth academy graduate, began to move awkwardly toward his own goal. Then, without warning, he fell to the ground. Teammates rushed to him immediately. They knew something was terribly wrong. Puerta was conscious for a few seconds, even managing to get up and walk off the field with help. But moments later, inside the locker room, he collapsed again. This time, he didn't wake up. Doctors at Virgen del Rocío Hospital fought for his life for 3 days. His heart stopped multiple times, not from a collision, not from exhaustion, but from arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy, a hereditary heart disease that causes sudden cardiac arrest, especially during intense physical activity. Puerta's death shocked Spanish football. He wasn't just another player, he was part of Sevilla's golden generation, having helped the club win back-to-back UEFA Cups and a Copa del Rey. He had just become a father days before his collapse. His funeral turned into a national event. Tens of thousands of fans filled the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan Stadium, standing in silence as his teammates carried his coffin, draped in the club's flag. In that moment, football stopped being a game. It was a shared grief for a life cut short at its brightest point. Puerta's death led Spanish clubs to strengthen their medical screenings and require automated defibrillators in all professional stadiums. His number 16 jersey was retired by Sevilla, a permanent symbol of a player who gave everything, including his life, to the sport he loved. 3. Fabrice Muamba, 2012, March 17, 2012. Tottenham Hotspur vs. Bolton Wanderers, FA Cup quarter-final at White Hart Lane, London. In the 41st minute, Bolton midfielder Fabrice Muamba, just 23 years old, suddenly fell face-first to the ground. No contact, no collision, just an abrupt collapse. At first, the crowd fell silent, confused. Then the panic began. Players frantically waved for medical staff. Referee Howard Webb immediately stopped the match. Within seconds, doctors and paramedics surrounded Muamba, performing CPR on the pitch as teammates knelt and prayed. The scene lasted for nearly 7 minutes, broadcast live to millions around the world. Muamba's heart had stopped. For 78 minutes, he was clinically dead. No heartbeat, no pulse, no response, as medics fought to restart his heart using a defibrillator both on the pitch and inside the stadium tunnel. Miraculously, he survived. Doctors at the London Chest Hospital called it one of the most remarkable recoveries in medical history. Muamba later revealed that his heart had stopped 15 times before stabilizing. He was forced to retire from professional football a few months later, but his survival changed the sport forever. His case pushed clubs and leagues across Europe to install defibrillators in every stadium and training ground and to provide specialized CPR training for staff. Even though Muamba lived, the image of his body lying motionless on the grass remains one of the most haunting moments in modern football. It served as both a miracle and a warning that even the fittest athletes are not invincible. 4. Miklós Fehér, 2004, January 25, 2004, Portuguese Primeira Liga. Benfica were playing Vitória de Guimarães in a televised match when 24-year-old Hungarian striker Miklós Fehér stepped onto the pitch as a substitute. He was smiling, joking with teammates, full of life. Then, in the final minutes, he was shown a yellow card for time wasting. Fehér laughed, bent slightly forward, and collapsed. No one touched him. The fall was slow, almost gentle, but when he hit the ground, his body went completely still. Teammates screamed for help. Medics sprinted across the pitch, performing CPR and using a defibrillator as the cameras captured the scene live. Rain began to fall as the stadium fell silent. Fehér was rushed to the Guimarães hospital, where doctors tried to resuscitate him for nearly an hour. At 22:55 local time, he was pronounced dead. The cause? Cardiac arrhythmia brought on by hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, the same hidden heart condition that took Marc-Vivien Foé's life just months earlier. Fehér's death devastated Portugal and Hungary alike. He was young, fit, and widely loved, a rising star who had already represented Hungary's national team 25 times. Benfica retired his number 29 shirt permanently, and every year fans gather at Estádio da Luz to honor his memory. His death led UEFA to expand its medical emergency protocols, requiring every professional match to have trained paramedics and defibrillation equipment pitchside. Fehér's final image, smiling seconds before he collapsed, became one of football's most painful symbols: how fragile life can be, even under stadium lights. 5. Lightning strike in the Congo, 1998. October 1998. A local football match in the Democratic Republic of Congo turned deadly in a matter of seconds. Two teams were facing off in the eastern province of Kasai in what began as an ordinary league match. Midway through the second half, a storm rolled in. Heavy clouds, thunder, and a sudden flash of lightning. Spectators later recalled hearing a deafening crack that seemed to strike the center of the pitch. When the smoke cleared, the scene was horrifying. 11 players from one team were dead. The other team miraculously was completely unharmed. Not a single scratch. Officials and journalists were baffled. How could lightning kill only one side? Superstitions flared instantly. Locals accused the surviving team of witchcraft, a belief that still holds power in parts of Central Africa. Investigators, however, concluded that the lightning strike likely hit a part of the field where the victims' boots or wet uniforms conducted the electricity more effectively. Sheer, terrible coincidence. The incident remains one of the deadliest single lightning strikes in sports history. There was no protection, no shelter, no medical response fast enough to save anyone. It led the Congolese football authorities to suspend matches during storms and recommend new safety guidelines for rural stadiums. Though in many parts of Africa, those warnings were ignored for years. 11 young athletes lost their lives in one instant. Not to a rival's tackle, but to nature's blind fury. 6. Choirul Huda, 2017, October 15, 2017. Indonesia's Liga 1 match between Persela Lamongan and Semen Padang. Goalkeeper Choirul Huda, 38 years old, was a legend of Indonesian football, a one-club man who had spent his entire career, nearly 2 decades, with Persela. In the 45th minute, just before halftime, a harmless through ball rolled toward his goal. Huda rushed forward to intercept, as he had done hundreds of times before. But in a split second, everything went wrong. He collided violently with his own teammate, Ramos Siahan, whose knee struck Huda in the head and chest. Huda immediately fell to the ground, clutching his face, clearly in distress. At first it looked like a routine injury, then his body went limp. Teammates called frantically for medical help. Paramedics arrived within seconds, performing CPR on the pitch as players formed a circle around him. He was rushed to Sigiri Hospital just minutes away. Doctors later confirmed the cause of death: trauma to the head, neck, and chest, which triggered cardiac arrest and respiratory failure. He was pronounced dead at 17:45 local time, less than an hour after the collision. Huda's death sent shockwaves through Indonesian football. He was not only a veteran but a local hero, known for his loyalty, humility, and leadership. The entire Persela Lamongan club retired his number 1 jersey, and thousands attended his funeral the next day. What made the tragedy harder was its simplicity. No foul play, no reckless challenge, just a fraction of mistiming between two teammates. It reminded the football world that even in a non-contact moment, life can change, or end, in an instant. 7. Peter Biaksangzuala, 2014, October 19, 2014. Mizoram Premier League, India. 23-year-old midfielder Peter Biaksangzuala, playing for Bethlehem Vengthlang FC, had just scored a crucial equalizer against Chianmari West FC. The crowd erupted. Peter sprinted toward the corner flag, celebrating with a backflip, his trademark move. But this time, the celebration turned fatal. As he landed, his body twisted awkwardly, and he fell headfirst onto the ground. The stadium fell silent. At first, it looked like a minor fall, but when Biaksangzuala didn't move, teammates ran over, panicking. He lay motionless, face down, as medics rushed in. He was immediately transported to Civil Hospital in Azal, where doctors diagnosed a severe spinal cord injury. He had fractured his neck, the C3 and C4 vertebrae, critical for breathing and body movement. Despite 5 days of intensive care and mechanical ventilation, he never regained consciousness. Peter Biaksangzuala died on October 23, 2014, at just 23 years old. His death devastated Indian football. He had dedicated his goal, the one that killed him, to Cristiano Ronaldo, his idol. His team retired his number 21 jersey, and the Mizoram Football Association established a memorial in his honor. What made this tragedy resonate worldwide wasn't just the freak accident itself, it was the cruel irony. A moment of pure joy, celebration, and youthful passion turned instantly into catastrophe. It became a painful reminder that in football, danger doesn't always come from tackles or collisions. Sometimes it comes from the celebration of success itself. 8. Piermario Morosini, 2012. April 14, 2012. Serie B, Italy. The match between Pescara and Livorno had barely reached the 31st minute when midfielder Piermario Morosini, 25 years old, suddenly stumbled and fell to the ground. At first, it looked like he might have tripped, but when he tried to get up twice and collapsed again, players and referees realized something was terribly wrong. His teammates screamed for help, waving frantically toward the benches. Medical staff rushed in with defibrillators, but the response was chaotic. A police car blocked the stadium exit, delaying the arrival of the ambulance by crucial minutes. Fans watched in shock as doctors worked desperately on the pitch, performing chest compressions for several minutes, before Morosini was finally transported to Stadio Adriatico Hospital. He was pronounced dead shortly after arrival. The cause, cardiac arrest triggered by arrhythmogenic cardiomyopathy, a hereditary heart condition. Later examinations revealed he had been unknowingly living with it for years, and that both his parents had died young, leaving him the sole supporter of his disabled brother. Italy mourned him deeply. Morosini wasn't a superstar. He was a humble, hard-working player, beloved by teammates and fans alike. After his death, all Italian football matches were suspended for the weekend. His passing prompted new regulations in Italian football, mandating on-field defibrillators and emergency training for all staff in professional and youth leagues. Piermario Morosini's story became more than a tragedy. It became a warning. Sometimes the heart that gives everything to the game is the one that can't bear it anymore. 9. Cristiano Junior, 2004. December 5, 2004. India's National Football League final between Dempo SC and Mohun Bagan in Bangalore. The packed Sri Kantarava Stadium was buzzing. Dempo's Brazilian striker Cristiano Sebastião de Lima Jr., known simply as Cristiano Junior, was in a peak form. The league's top scorer and fan favorite. In the 78th minute, he sprinted past the defense, one-on-one with the goalkeeper Subrata Pal. As Junior went to tap the ball into the net, Pal dived forward. Their bodies collided violently. Junior's head struck the keeper's chest, and he crashed face-first into the turf. The crowd roared at first, thinking it was just a foul. But then Junior didn't move. His teammates rushed to him, panic spreading instantly. There were no on-site doctors, no ambulance nearby, an unthinkable oversight for a national final. Junior was eventually carried off by players themselves, still unconscious. He was taken to Hasmat Hospital, but it was too late. Doctors declared him dead on arrival. The cause, brain and spinal trauma leading to cardiac arrest. What followed was chaos and outrage. The All India Football Federation, AIFF, faced heavy criticism for the lack of medical preparedness. No defibrillator, no emergency team on standby. The league immediately changed its regulations, making pitch-side medical units mandatory for all matches. Junior's death left a lasting mark on Indian football. He had scored 15 goals that season, and the goal just before his death was officially recorded as his last. To this day, many in India remember that match not for the trophy, but for the sight of a man who died the instant after scoring. A haunting reminder that glory and tragedy can share the same breath. 10. Cheick Tioté, 2017. June 5, 2017. Training session in Beijing, China. Former Newcastle United midfielder Cheick Tioté, 30 years old, had recently joined Beijing Enterprises, a second-division club in the Chinese league. It was an ordinary Monday. Warm-up drills, passing exercises, laughter among teammates. Then, without warning, Tioté collapsed. No collision, no struggle, just a sudden fall. Players immediately shouted for help as staff ran toward him. CPR began on the pitch, followed by defibrillator attempts, but there was no response. He was rushed to a nearby hospital where doctors fought to revive him for almost an hour. at 6:00 p.m. whilst he was pronounced dead. The cause? Cardiac arrest, later linked to an undiagnosed heart condition. Tioté's death stunned the football world. He was a seasoned professional, tough, disciplined, and beloved for his relentless energy. During his 7 years at Newcastle, he was known as the heartbeat of the midfield, famously scoring the equalizer in the legendary 4-4 comeback against Arsenal in 2011. News of his passing spread globally within hours. His former manager, teammates, and fans across continents flooded social media with tributes. In his home country of Côte d'Ivoire, thousands attended his memorial, and his coffin was carried through the streets of Abidjan like that of a national hero. His death reignited debates about the pressure on players, hidden health risks, and the limits of human endurance in professional sport. For millions of fans, Tioté's legacy isn't just a goal or a match. It's a reminder that behind every jersey number beats a fragile human heart,